This is my first attempt at UPSC Civil
Terrific.
Services.
आप वैसे PW OnlyIAS के साथ कैसे connected हैं?
So YouTube पे videos देखी होंगी.
So do you think our supplies have been affected, and what do you see?
So I don't think so. I believe the relationship is quite robust.
As an RBI governor, would you support this?
No, sir. That is also the stand of the present RBI governor, as he recently said that we don't want a cryptomania, and my stand would also be the same.
I think you are an excellent candidate.
May I come in, sir?
Yes, please. Ms.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
SRISHTI
Good
Dabas,
evening, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So, medium of interview is English.
Yes.
Briefly introduce yourself to the board.
So I'm SRISHTI Dabas. I was born and brought up in Delhi. I've done my graduation and post-graduation from political science, post which I worked briefly with the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and currently I'm posted to Mumbai working with the Reserve Bank of India. I take keen interest in performing Kathak, and this is my first attempt at UPSC Civil
Terrific.
Services. Thank you.
Welcome. Please carry on.
SRISHTI, very impressive
Thank you, sir.
background you have, and I read that you got a university gold medal in graduation.
Yes, sir.
So we can congratulate now,
Thank you, sir.
though it's a bit late.
No, sir.
Anyway, your optional has been political science.
Yes, sir.
What are the challenges India is facing at present as far as the foreign policy is concerned? 3, if you can mention in order of your priority.
So there are a number of challenges that we are facing, but if I were to prioritize 3, so the first one would be the challenge from China, as China is an aggressive and revanchist power, and India is facing a lot of issue at the borders. So second would be our neighborhood first policy, because of late relations with certain neighbors are deteriorating, so that is something that we need to work upon. And so thirdly would be having a balance between USA and Russia, as both are strategic partners for India.
These are the 3 areas.
Yes, sir.
The present policy which government is following, do you agree with that, or you have any suggestion to improve upon it?
So to a large extent, I agree with the policy that the government of India is following. We are finally balancing the diplomatic tightrope among various nations, and we are also following the policy of de-hyphenation. So I believe we are going in the right direction, sir.
Okay. My last question to you would be regarding our own country. There's a debate going on about one nation, one election.
Yes, sir.
What are your views on that?
So the debate has both sides to it. So when we talk of the benefits, certainly there are some, like the country won't be in the election mode in forever, in all years. Like there would be certain more focus on the developmental role rather than being in the election mode. Secondly, the use of caste and religion for political propaganda would reduce to a certain extent. So these are the benefits. However, so there are certain challenges coming about with the consensus with all the states. That would be difficult, because some states will have to, some state legislatures will have to be dissolved earlier. So that is the difficulty we are facing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, SRISHTI, can you suggest 3 job roles for the transgenders which will ideally suit them?
Yes, sir. So ideally it should be in all the arenas, in all the sectors. However, if 3 I were to mention, so firstly would be as journalists, I would say, because then they'll be able to put in their voice all across the globe.
Okay, what else?
So secondly, it would be as working with NGOs that they are already doing.
I'm talking of white collar, blue collar workers.
So it would be in the bureaucracy, certainly, sir. I would wish that there's more representation of transgenders in the bureaucracy. And sir, as politicians also, sir.
Okay. And as white collar workers?
So if their education is focused upon, then certainly they'll be able to get into the white collar jobs also.
Like?
As researchers, for instance. So researchers in entrepreneurship area also.
Okay. So there's some jobs like caregivers for elderly can be transgenders. The bouncers can be transgenders. Some jobs are ideally suited for them also.
So I beg to differ.
Okay.
This is a stereotype perhaps, because the very image of a transgender that comes to our mind is someone who's physically different from us. But ideally, sir, that should not be the case, I believe.
Yes, but the point is that when the society as such acceptance is not there, to get the entry, some jobs can be given where they start becoming visible and useful to the society. Then societies, that barrier will fall off.
So perhaps that in that regard, actually while I was doing this research also, such a suggestion did come up. So one person suggested that transgenders should be working as, say, street vendors outside the parliament itself, so that their visibility increases. So perhaps that can be done.
Okay, when you are applying, 60% time look at me, rest of the time look at others also. Will all be marking.
Yes,
Okay?
sir, yes.
Take care of that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you have done arts. So for paintings, how does one get the copyright?
So for printing,
Paintings, artwork, sculpture, painting, how does one get the copyright?
so the Copyright Act we have, but particularly regarding the technicalities, I'm not aware, sir.
Does painting have a copyright?
So it should be having, I'm not so sure, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Think about it anyway.
Yes.
Okay, now stand in the shoes of a tea vendor. Okay, and tell me how UPI has changed that person's life.
Yes, sir. So UPI transactions have increased very much given the scale of digitization that is happening. So from the point of view of a tea vendor, sir,
Roadside tea vendor.
Yes, sir. So it becomes easier for him to get payments from anyone and everyone. Also, the change management becomes easier because when the dealing is in cash, so
Okay.
the change becomes difficult. So further, as we are moving towards CBDC also, and since it's made interoperable with UPI, so that will also help the tea vendors.
What else?
So it's about accessibility and ease of payment. So that comes to my mind.
Okay, and while, see, how does he get to know that the payment has come to his account or her account?
So usually they keep a small machine which gives a voiceover and it says that so and so amount has been received.
So she doesn't have to open the cash box every time.
Yes, sir.
So her efficiency improves, productivity
Yes, sir.
improves.
Yes. Certainly, sir.
Right? She doesn't have to guard the money. And to some extent, if your money comes into your account, what happens to your saving?
So it increases only, the savings account deposits increase.
Natural propensity to save also increases, isn't it?
Indeed, sir. Right, sir.
And when you go and buy something, then you don't have to carry cash, so that risk has gone down.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for
one
pointing
last
it out.
thing.
Yes, sir.
Earlier she was selling tea for 5 rupees or 10 rupees. Now she can sell for 8 rupees also.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you for
Sale
pointing
will
it
also
out.
go up for that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Srishti mentioned something about dehyphenation at that time. What did you mean by that?
So it basically comes into context with our relations with Israel and Palestine in particular, whereby now we are not keeping a narrow and restricted view of our foreign policy by being friends with one and enemy with the other country. So we are trying to balance having good relations with both the countries.
What about with Russia? You said you've done some coordination, youth coordination. So India-Russia relationship in a few sentences.
So we have strategic and special partnership with Russia, and India believes that our relation with Russia is time tested. So given the present context, we have been importing oil from Russia. Then the recent visit of our foreign minister to Russia also further gave a boost to our relationship. And so defense ties are also really good between both the countries.
But are they going down because Russia's got busy with the Ukraine war and all their armaments and all are being diverted there? So do you think our supplies have been affected, and what do you see?
So I don't think so. I believe the relationship is quite robust, and both the nations are trying their level best not to get impacted by the other geopolitical happenings.
And with China, you mentioned the border boundary dispute.
Yes, sir.
How large is the boundary, do you know, India-China border?
Sorry, sir, exact figure I'm unable to recollect.
Any idea? Some guess?
So some 1500 square kilometers. Not
3,488.
Yes, sir, thank you.
And how do you, what is the solution there? You think it's going to be resolved?
So being optimistic enough, I believe it should be resolved if both the parties are ready to find a solution to it.
So what is the mechanism that we are following to try to resolve it?
So currently we are in talks with China. So we have had a peace and tranquility agreement on the border also. However, the challenge is coming from China because they are not actually following the agreement, in the sense that ceasefire agreements are being broken, and then constant firings at the border. Infrastructural development is something that China is doing, which India is opposing. So certainly there are some issues, sir, and that is what we have to come to a table and resolve it through dialogue and diplomacy.
India is opposing, or India has also started to counter build now and try and get to the border?
So that is the reaction that has come from our end. However, we are opposing what China is doing because they are doing the infrastructural development on our part of land.
Very quickly, there's an economic summit going on.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware about it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So it's taking place in Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum Summit, and countries along with businesses have come together to discuss on various issues that are concerning the globe, be it the economic issues such as the perception that
India's focus on that? What is our focus area in that?
So recently the RBI governor has mentioned over there that the world won't go into a recession soon, and we are working towards keeping our inflation under the target as close as 4%. Further, we are focusing on climate change. That is one arena where we want nations to come together.
You know, our stand there is in Davos is based on women-led development.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Smriti Irani is the main person
representing it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Srishti, you mentioned something about climate change.
Yes.
Tell me some key takeaways from COP28.
Sir, a number of decisions were taken. First, there was a reiteration of the loss and damage fund. So secondly, Altera fund was brought about by UAE, which will help finance the climate change. So further focus was on climate change mitigation and adaptation, as has always been all the COPs.
How loss and damage fund is different from adaptation fund?
So adaptation fund basically focuses on once the damage has been done, we try to adapt to whatever changes have taken place. However, loss and damage fund is particularly for the small island developing nations, I believe, because they are at the risk of climate change.
So India won't be interested in that in accordance to you?
Sir, India is. It is for developing nations also. So India also stands
Then why India is saying we are supporting loss and damage fund and we need money in the adaptation fund as well?
So we are coming up with many funds.
All right. Tell me, if we compare developed nations to the developing nations,
Yes.
developing nations are biased towards which fund, mitigation or adaptation?
So we would want mitigation first.
We would want mitigation first?
Yes, sir. To be proactive enough.
Anyways, all right. So there is so much of furor in relation to cryptocurrency these days.
Yes, sir.
As an RBI governor, would you support this?
No, sir. That is also the stand of the present RBI governor, as he recently said that we don't want a cryptomania, and my stand would also be the same, because the level of volatility that cryptocurrency brings about, that is something which is beyond regulation of RBI, and it hampers the monetary policy also.
Okay. So tell me one relation between NPAs and money laundering.
So the funds, the loans that are given to high valued individuals, when they are diverted towards money laundering activities, they in turn increase the NPAs if they are not returned on time. So I believe that would be the direct relation.
No. All right. So tell me quickly, what is the status of economy of India right now?
So we are
In absolute
currently,
figures.
yes sir. So growing at a growth rate of 7% as per RBI and at 7.3% as per NSO. Our inflation rate is 5.3%, which is well
GDP
within.
is
So it's $3.75 trillion.
constant price or current price?
So it's the real GDP growth rate, hence the
Per capita income?
so it's $2,500.
2,500.
Yes.
So if we compare this to the GDP of Brazil, Brazil's GDP is comparatively smaller, but the per capita income is 6 times higher than India.
Yes, sir.
So don't you think it is a vague thing which is happening in India? We call it as a jobless growth. So how you can improve the per capita income by knowing the fact that we have a very good chunk of demographic dividend here?
Yes, sir. So it's basically because of the huge population that we have, and it's important for us to channelize and get benefits from our demographic dividend. That would be done in a number of ways. Like first of all, promoting skill development, entrepreneurship should be promoted, reskilling, upskilling, and for all people of India. Secondly, sir, by promoting more digitization and through digital economy.
Next.
So by improving the manufacturing sector also,
How
because
you will
that
improve
would.
that?
So by improving the infrastructure, say for instance through Gati Shakti as we are doing, to decrease the logistics cost and increase the ease of link.
I'm sorry for the interruption. Infrastructure needs money.
Yes, sir.
From where they'll get the loans?
Say we are focusing on the national monetization pipeline also.
Okay.
So
Thank you so much, ST.
thank you, sir.
Just a few quick ones.
Yes, sir.
There is one particular development in Sri Lanka which India can pat itself on the back for whatever diplomatic or whatever reasons. Sri Lanka was going very heavily pro-China and by implication anti-India. What is the one little development which has happened at Hambantota port of late?
So Hambantota port has been given to China by Sri Lanka for a 99-year lease, and that is
That we
increasing
know.
the debt.
What has happened there, which is a positive development for Indian diplomacy?
So I can recollect the negative thing because
Well, the Sri Lankan government has recently disallowed the docking of
Chinese ship.
Chinese ships.
Okay, sir.
There's some military ships for that purpose,
Yes.
which is somewhat of a okay.
So thank you. For
The other thing which I may say, there has been one development on the Waqf board private members bill in the last winter session of the December session of the parliament. If a private member bill was admitted, is it just a usual business as usual? Is there something very surprising about it?
So I'm not aware about.
Okay,
the
no problem.
private.
One last one. What is the difference between the Durand line, and it's a political science question, PSIR question,
Yes, sir.
and the Ratcliffe line? That is Afghanistan, Pakistan, and this one is India, Pakistan. Duh. All right. Now give me the real political difference.
Sorry, sir. I cannot
Hint.
think of.
Why are the Afghans spilling all over Pakistan, spilling in? And they can say, sorry, we refuse to go back. 1.7 million of them, I think.
So that is basically because of the Baluchistan issue between both the nations.
What Balochistan issue? What has Durand line got to do with it?
So Pakistan is restricting the movement of trucks across the border.
No. You're looking at the symptoms. What is the real cause? The real cause is Durand line has never been recognized by the Afghan race as a nation, as a people, ever since. Pakistan can keep saying anything. वो लोग बोलते हैं मानते ही नहीं हम तो. This is also part of us. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
Thank you.
So which brings us to the close of this interview. How do you think you have fared? Where can you do better?
So on the certain factual questions, I need to work upon them. Political science, PSIR in particular.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. When is your interview?
So it's not in phase 1.
So you have a lot of time to study.
Yes.
Right? Do study hard. I think you are an excellent candidate, and you can only do better than that.
Yes.
Right? So you're already there. You can use your hands a bit more. You can use it to express. You're using so much expressions verbally, and there's so much of very positive way of putting a question. You can be faulted once in a while, that's another matter, but you're expressing it very well. I'm looking at the kinesics part of it. You should be able to express yourself a bit. Also, don't look at one person all the time.
Yes, sir. I'm
Right?
trying that. Yes, sir.
You can practice in front of a mirror for as long as you want. A very obvious question would be, what are you doing in this next 3-4 years? You won't be able to earn as much money as you are already earning there. So be prepared for all those questions.
Yes, sir.
कौन आता है?
It's something not very easy.
Keep the answers short.
Yeah.
That's what I have observed, that you have the habit of giving lengthy answers. So you'll be caught.
See, you are pausing a bit and then you are speaking, but you are speaking linearly. You know, as thoughts keep coming, you keep giving them.
Yes, sir.
So if you, in that pause, if you are able to speak slowly and bring the meatiest part of the answer first.
Preferences.
Priority 1, 2, 3. Yes. And keep them for 15-20 seconds. इससे ज़्यादा लंबा आंसर मत दीजिए unless you are goaded into that discussion.
Yes.
All right. For now, just this.
One more thing, Srishti. Generally, the impression which people have is that RBI is up in the clouds, not connected with the ground. So there, if you can go to this website, thebetterindia.com, and even otherwise, the schemes, जो विकसित भारत संकल्प जो यात्रा चल रही है,
Yes, sir.
go through all the schemes. You should know the schemes, what they are doing, what is the eligibility, how they are doing. So be thorough about it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The nuts and bolts you should be knowing.
Now we are actually encroaching upon the next candidate's time. So if you'll continue, okay, after you have prepared yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay, continue.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.